So I've experienced situations in hospitals or other healthcare where I've been prejudiced against. And it's not me trying to do some of their clicks. Like it didn't feel right. The looks, the way I was treated as if I wasn't in pain. And this was like right after my last accident. And the attitude as if I did not deserve to be in the hospital. Like I didn't belong there. It was oh. So I'm gonna play this video and I hope you can empathize with what a lot of minorities go through whenever they visit hospitals and why they don't trust a lot of health officials sometimes. Alright, here we go. Get ready.
Thanks to this sister by the name APRNBeauty_81 on TikTok that we still have evidence for this video because
Sickle cell
outside of
patients
her
in
page, I can't seem to
Jackson,
be able to find
Mississippi, when they don't get there, they loudly.
it.
What up, Nurse Gang? What up, TikTok? So, I really, it breaks my heart when I gotta make videos like this, and it breaks my heart when I
So this travel nurse, the lady in the background, she was bragging about denying sickle cell patients their medicine in Mississippi.
see this. You know, people usually hide when they're, it's in healthcare, but when they just jump right out with it, it's just so disgusting. A medical student, a med student, not even a nurse, a med student, actually not a black med student either, sent me this, and they were mortified. They said they saw this and they were, they couldn't believe what they saw. This is a nurse, travel nurse. So she says. I mean, nowadays you never know on the internet, but mocking sickle cell patients.
They could die.
Jackson, Mississippi. I can't handle that level of reason that go on down there. Jackson, Mississippi, when they don't get their dilaudid, and she's showing how she says bye to them. We're going to watch the video. And sickle cell is a debilitating disease. Debilitating. Sickle cell patients often say that they get discriminated against when they go into hospitals trying to get medicated. It's disgusting. And to see a nurse flat out online saying how she dismisses them when they don't get their dilaudid. Wow. Wow. Then I happen to go to her page and scroll down and see she says, oh, Trump supporter. I can't wait till Trump gets reelected so he can give us epic nationally. When I get on this internet and I say nurses should never be for Trump, nurses being for Trump are dangerous, this is what I mean. This is what I mean.
You goddamn wish you would have played your cards right with me. I will see you in hell, you fool, you liar, you manipulator. You goddamn wish you would have played your cards right with me. I will see you in hell, you fool, you liar, you manipulator.
Monday CRM is so intuitive, I think it just burned my mind. Again, get out of my head, Monday CRM.
The comments. Another person chuckles and says, truth. Must be a nurse. And she said, every day. When President Trump gets reelected, I just have one request. Yeah, I'm going to need TikTok to do its thing. We need to know where she's working. She's dangerous to patients.
One that nurse around me.
TikTok, do your thing. I'm certain someone will let me know where she's working. This is disgusting. People like this should not be in healthcare. You're dangerous. Withholding pain meds from people with sickle cell. What else are you doing? You're dangerous. And I think Jackson, Mississippi is a a black, more African American population out there. She got to go.
So after this sister made this video calling her out for this sickening behavior, other people joined in as well, calling her out and dragging her for filth. And of course, when that happened, she started backtracking, talking about how that's not what she said. She was taken out of context.
You would be correct. That is gross. And I have never denied any sickle cell patients their medication. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm a nurse. And so when a doctor orders pain medication, I give it to the patient because I am the nurse, and that is not up to me. So, no, I have never denied sickle cell patients their medication. If you're new here, someone took one of my videos way out of context and I think put the mafia out after me today.
Now, maybe I'm reaching here, but her response to why she doesn't deny pain medication to her sickle cell patients was, I don't know, it's just weird because she did not say she doesn't deny her patients because that's not something that she would do. That's not right. That's not in her character. That's wrong. She said she doesn't deny because she's a nurse. She has to follow the doctor's orders. And to me, that's just like a very interesting response. And when I add the fact that she's smiling in this video, well, I don't know about any other person, but if I'm being accused of saying that I do something as heinous as denying a sickle cell patient or any patient for that matter their medication, but I did not do that, I'm not sure I'm going to be laughing about it. So when I think about the situation from that perspective, this smile she has plastered on her face just become weird to me. Like, what's so funny?
I had mentioned how in Jackson, Mississippi, sickle cell patients ask for Dilaudid. And a lot of them need pain medications and need Dilaudid because they have a very painful disease. But there are also a lot of patients who abuse this. And if you've worked in any type of city like Jackson, where there's a lot of sickle cell patients, you know what I'm talking about. This becomes a problem, and it makes it hard to treat people who are actually in pain. Sickle cell, other people with chronic illnesses, and it really puts a weight on healthcare workers in the healthcare system. Now, there are lots of places for sickle cell patients to get their pain medications. There's pain clinics, but sometimes people take advantage of that, and that becomes a problem for everybody, for themselves too. I never meant for that video to be taken out of context, but this is TikTok, and that does happen. It was taken out of context. I love being a nurse and I love helping people, otherwise I wouldn't do it. I just don't like when people abuse the system. A lot of nurses don't. It makes it very hard for us to treat people who actually need help.
Quick question, madam. So, are you saying that this is the reason why you maybe sometimes deny them their medication because you think that they may be abusing the system by pretending to be in pain so they can get more medication to abuse? Is that what you are saying? For clarity's sake, I'm asking. Because that's what I'm kind of hearing.
People suffer from sickle cell. Like, that's a very painful disease. Your blood cells aren't shaped right, so they can't carry oxygen properly. They all have this curved, collapsed, concave, like, you know, it's not even convex, but it's like there's a collapsed sickle-like shape, so it can't hold enough oxygen properly. It's not like someone who, you know, either is having a stomach ache or they fell and they, broke their arm and they're in a cast and they're on pain levers. And you're worried that this person might eventually go out and abuse this. No, people with sickle cell are in real pain. I don't have sickle cell. I've never wished that on anything.
That this right here is some kind of justification for why you allegedly denying them their medication. And when I think about the fact that it's usually, for the most part, Black people and other people of color like Asians, Middle Easterners, Hispanics, they are the ones that you find that sickle cell traits more in, and then you factor in the kind of worlds that we live in with the whole racial thing that we unfortunately have going on. All I want to do is scream, Madam, I use whatever it is that you believe in or worship to beg you to please
Yeah,
give these
she's
people their
moving.
meds, because the pain that they unfortunately have to deal.
I'm going to keep it short.
Let me show you something that makes me furious every time I see it. This is a real tax return from someone making $284,972 per year.
And sweet, you can read this for yourself. APR and Beauty created a video the other day, and it is causing so much bullying and harassment, which I can take, but now my friends and followers are starting to receive bullying and harassment like this for something they're not even involved in, and it's truly disgusting. I have respectfully asked APR and Beauty to remove that video so we can stop this harassment, but she will not take it down. She claims I'm lying about the harassment. Go to my page. You won't see anything in the comments. They're filtered because...
Oh, so now you need help? You mean like when your sickle cell patients needed help, when they needed pain medicine and you were refusing to give them their pain medicine? You mean like that? Now you need help to stop bullying? Do you even understand the ramifications of being in the sickle cell crisis and what that can do to somebody's body? Like, do you even understand that? You're a travel nurse and you are not giving these people their pain medicine? Sickle cell patients? I don't think do you even grasp how sick that is?
That's what I'm
I would think you
saying.
would know this already, being that you are a travel nurse or you claim to be a travel nurse, but I would think that you would know when you don't treat sickle cell pain, it can cause more sickling of the cells, of the red blood cells, more sickling. And you know what more sickling leads to, right? More blocked blood vessels. They're having the pain in the first place because they have sickling of their blood cells and it's blocking a blood vessel. If you have a blocked blood vessel, what are you going to end up with? If you're blocking major blood vessels, what are you going to end up with? You can end up with a stroke or you can end up with a heart attack, right? You know that, right? I would think that you would know that. If you are who you are claiming to be, I would think you would know that. And you wouldn't have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to deny these people their pain medicine when they need their pain medicine. I would think you would know that. And you don't need to be anybody's nurse, let alone anybody's travel nurse, because that is insane. That's wild. And I want y'all to take a wild guess of who sickle cell mainly affects. I want y'all to take a wild guess.
It's black people.
Like I have said many times on here, but just to put it on here one more time, I am not someone who condones online bullying or would support any that as to whether or not I should let this video play in this video.
So apparently in Dallas, there was a lady who was in labor. She was in the waiting area for more than 30 minutes. Let's just get into the video.
Because it was just so much pain that the woman in the wheelchair, in this vulnerable state,
Now, is your what? How many times have you been pregnant? 3. This is your 3rd pregnancy? Yes. You have 2 babies. It's in my ass. You have 2 babies at home. Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor.
Ooh. Oh dear. I feel it for her.
Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
Okay, this is the first I have a patient for you. Alright, last name is Jones. She's G3P2. Not sure when her due date is.
Her due date is the 10th.
Her due date is the 10th.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home. I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors.
Thank you.
Everybody say how they treat people here.
Thank you.
ma'am. Yes. Are you able to call the anesthesiologist? Someone is coming to take you to labor and delivery. That's not what I asked. I cannot know.
This is the world we live in. This woman is in labor, in serious pain, but they could not give a damn. The most important thing to them was to be punching on a computer, because that cannot be done later.
Well, ugh. So this is a problem with just the hospital system. She has to do what she has to do. She can't do anything else. She's just an admin. She can't help you deliver the baby, and she can't move you down to the whatchamacallit, the ER or the wherever they go and deliver babies. She has to wait for someone to come and move her. Unfortunately. And then again, I think she's an RN, but she's not the midwife. Ugh, this is this is a problem in the healthcare system. I don't. Yeah, I don't know how a lot of this works. I'll be honest. I don't think I'm qualified to be talking, but yeah, I feel it for
Like
her.
priorities, like pregnancy and
All right,
labor
the
is
person
not a
speaking
joke.
does not
Steady and nurse.
understand.
Mom made
Earlier. So I was at work. I had no idea of the activity that was going on. My daughter's texting me, calling me. I didn't know what was going on. So finally, I get home. They tell me about the video, and a lot of you was asking about a follow up and to explain the situation. So this is the situation. My daughter went into active labor
Mm,
at home. We
mm,
took her to the hospital. She called ahead of time, so we know they are expecting us. However, we get there to the emergency room. We watching nurses, putting gloves on, running to the door. They get outside of the door, and I drive a black SUV, and they look at my vehicle, and one of the nurses come up to the window, and she goes, I'm sorry, this is for ambulance only. I said, well, my daughter is in active labor. And she was like, okay. She said, but you're going to have to go to the front.
the lady is in active labor. Wait, what? The lady, she's actively in labor.
I'm like, I have to drive to the front. And they said, yeah, you have to drive to the front. Okay, another redhead. hmm And so I'm like, so she's in the, you hear, and it was like, yeah, she started bagging up, hit the button, went back inside the building. So I go around to the front. I get out of the car. Again, this girl is in more pain now than she was when we first left the house. And she started saying, I feel pressure. I feel pressure. I said, take deep breaths. I ran in. I said, hey, my daughter's in the car. I went to emergency. They told me I had to come to the front. So the lady was like, what's your daughter's name? Told her Kiara Jones. She gets out some paperwork, start typing in the name. I was like, ma'am, do you have a wheelchair or anything? She's in the car. I need to get her in. Oh, if you check on the other side of those doors where the vending machine's at, there should be a wheelchair out there. There's no wheelchair out there. So she gets up, she walks in the back, and she comes to the door with a wheelchair. She said, here you go, ma'am. I said, excuse me, you're not going to come with me? And she was like, no. Oh,
Oh,
okay. So, a police officer was in the lobby. He gets up. He grabbed a wheelchair. He goes out the door with me. He said, come on, I got you. Went out there. She is on hands and knees in the back of the vehicle. And I'm like, oh shit, what is going on? And then she goes, it's in my ass. And I was like, what? And the guy was like, and she was like, he said, okay, she was like, give me a minute. She could not move. So when that contraction eased, we put her in a wheelchair. He said, you can go park your car because they again had, you know, people out there. So I went park my car. It wasn't even 30 seconds. I run back in the building. She's just there with a stack of papers in her hand, screaming that this baby is coming. This baby is coming. I look at the registers behind the window and they looking at me and they was like, well, we can't do anything until she signed the papers. Are you fucking kidding me?
Ooh.
So I grabbed the papers and of course it's they all they ER bullshit
Yeah,
that
I
they
believe you.
have. And I was like,
Basically, the paperwork probably has, and she hasn't mentioned it, is the hospital doesn't want to be liable in case the birth negatively, like delivery of the child, negatively impacts the mother or the child. And I remember when I went in for like some trigger point injections after my accident or pain, and they had me sign some forms. They were like, "Will we not be liable if you die from these injections? Will not be liable if you lose your bodily functions, if you lose your motor functions, if you can't move your legs." I was like, "Why the hell am I here? Why am I taking these injections?" But I had to because I was in pain.
you want her to sign this and she's in active labor.
Mm.
And they was like, okay, I was like, man, she was supposed to be induced earlier today at 8 o'clock. And they called and told her that they would call her because they didn't have beds. And they would let her know. And no one ever called back. They called back every hour on an hour. And it was like, no,
That's the hospital slipped up right there. The hospital slipped up.
we'll call you back. And then finally her water break, she called them, they tell her to come in. So why is she signing these papers? We need her in labor and delivery. And it was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. So the charge nurse comes out and she saw the paper signed. What fucking are you serious right now? And she closes the door. And then the lady behind the window at this point, my daughter, scribbled her name on all the papers. We gave it to her. She says, thank you. She walked it around to the charge nurse. She opened up the door. My daughter is literally like having a contraction. And she's just standing there in the door.
So I'm writing an essay on cats in art history. I'm an art history major, and
So we push her into the door. I said, can we get her into labor and delivery? She said, no, we have to fill out all this paperwork. I have to do the paperwork and get her a band before we can send her upstairs. So that was the video that you guys saw that I initially posted. So the next video that has no picture on it was when I was pushing her in and we was at the window because they asked me to move her from the window so they can take care of the guests or, patients that was coming in and out.
So no one could help her.
Do not go to this hospital. This hospital is ghetto as hell. They do not care about Black women or their babies. This is crazy. I read about stuff like this all the time, but to see this firsthand, this lady did not care. None of them.
No compassion.
It wasn't until we got into labor and
No
delivery
compassion.
where we saw an ounce of care or sympathy for her. Before then, they can care less. She did not care if she gave birth in that wheelchair. That was not her problem or her concern.
I don't know, but this is definitely a situation one should sue for. One should be able to sue.
I think that those were the instructions on the processes of the hospital. As brutal as they may seem, uh, this is why a lot of Black women use, I think, doulas to help them deliver babies, people within their own community, because they don't get the care they need at the hospital. They don't.
For this because the hospital levels that should did affect the baby a little bit, and grandmom shared more on that in this video.
Hey guys, I'm here with mom and baby Cash. They are doing well. He has a doctor's appointment tomorrow at the pediatric center. It's a lot of concerns. They taking tests on him. He still have to go through several other tests down the line because he was born with his eyes open, and due to the stress and trauma that occurred in the triage area, the baby had a bowel movement in mom, and the fluids was green. And like I said, he born with his eyes open. So they are, taking all that in consideration as well. But he's eating well, sleeping well, looking good. And I was also reading a lot of the comments, and some of you under the impression it was twins. They are not twins. This is daughter with baby Cash, and this is other daughter with baby DJ. They are a month apart. DJ born 10/10 and KJ born 11/11. Thank you again for your support and your concerns, and we will most definitely keep you updated.
Wow. Oof, man.
It's appalling, it's disgusting. Like, this is a major. I came by a video from
transplants from poorer patients and instead giving those same kidneys to wealthy patients. A whistleblower lawsuit alleges that kidneys were diverted from poor patients at Parkland Health and instead given to wealthier patients at UT Southwest.
That's been going on for years. I don't know if you've ever seen Royal Pains. It was a similar situation where a doctor, um, he had to choose between saving the life of a little girl or child versus a wealthy man. And he chose a child, so the hospital fired him. I would not doubt that even worse things are happening. The wealthy get prioritized in this life. It's unfortunate, but it is true. If you don't have money, you have nothing.
The whistleblower was quite literally their transplant director, their transplant coordinator, the person overseeing all of the organ transplants at the facility. And he documented 36 different cases in the span of 1 year where kidneys were deemed not up to quality for transplant into poorer patients at Parkland Health. But then those exact same kidneys that didn't meet the quality standards were then transplanted into patients in a wealthier hospital. Little bit of background. Almost every single kidney transplant, including like any organ transplant in the United States, is funded by Medicaid. So what this lawsuit is alleging
Hold on.
is that
So all kidney transplants are funded by the American taxpayer dollars. So you're telling me that the rich people can't pay for their own kidney transplants? Come on now.
organ procurement groups and the hospitals themselves were prioritizing wealthier patients over patients whose treatments would be reimbursed by Medicaid. They are quite literally choosing who lives and who dies based on how much money.
So, oh, I see. So it's not a case of both parties getting Medicaid. Rich people can pay for their own, and the hospital will gain more money that way because insurance companies, like even Medicaid, they're not going to want to pay the full bill. They'll negotiate the price down. That's what hospitals want to make as much money as possible. Um, and so that's where the conflict seems to lie.
You have. I have never, in all of my years in healthcare, heard a more damning condemnation of where our system currently lies. Because you know damn well this isn't just about class. This is also a deeply, deeply racial issue. Because Parkland Health, as you guessed it, serves primarily Black and Latino communities.
Yeah, they
And
don't
the
care about us.
wealthier hospitals that these organs were being diverted to serve primarily white communities. This is
So, my question is there a black person's organ living now in a white person's body? And how do they feel about that? Does that make them black now? Does that make them tainted?
this is so dark. This is so dark. And if there are any updates on this case, I will bring them to you. But everyone actually involved in this, everyone that had their hands in this at all. And this is
Wow, that's wild, yo. That's wild. That's wild.
Creators, take these 3 apps I built to run my business and make